The open-close technique breaks a double stroke into two distinct mechanical movements. The first note of the double is played with a downward opening movement of the hand. The second note of the double is played by an upward closing movement. Here are three rhythmic examples of a double stroke played in 2/4 time. The open stroke in each example happens on beat 1. Notice that the closed stroke in example 1 is on the and of 1. In the second example, it is moved to the of 1. And in the third example, it's moved to beat 2. In this third example, we're actually using a double stroke technique to produce an even flow of notes from one hand. And it is possible to delay the close stroke past this even flow of notes point, but we don't do it because the technique becomes inside out, backwards, and doesn't make any mechanical sense. In the previous video, I showed you how by having the left hand mimic the exact rhythm that the right hand is doing, we can create some patterns. So in this first example, if we have the left hand play the same thing that the right hand is playing, open, close in eighth note form, left, left, we can create a double stroke roll. On the second pattern, if we have the left hand mimic the right hand playing a dotted eighth 16th, opening on the dotted eighth, closing on the 16th, left, left. This is a slow motion representation of alternating flams. Let's look at this one where we actually have the even flow of notes. At the moment, there's no rhythmic room for us to put the left hand part in there because these quarter notes take up all of this space. If we change these quarter notes into eighth notes, we now have a space that we can put the left hand in. So let's put the left hand where these two rests are as eighth notes. Left, left, open, close. Again, the left hand is mimicking the right hand exactly. The difference in this pattern from the previous two is that it's starting its sequence before the right hand is finished its double sequence. And we can actually make this a little easier to read by combining all these eighth note flags into one system, like this. This sequence is open right, open left, close right, close left. I call this pattern the singled 4 because there are 4 notes in the sequence. Let's look how the single 4 relates to the double stroke roll. So for the moment, let's lose the alternating flams. Notice that the first note is the same. An open with the right on beat 1. And the last note is the same. A close with the left on the end of 2. A close with the left on the end of 2. The change from the double stroke roll to the single 4 are these two middle notes switch position. The close moves from the end of 1 to beat 2 of the right hand. The open of the left hand moves to the end of 1 from beat 2. So they flip. The double stroke roll and the single 4. Alright, let's look at how we can morph from a double stroke roll to the single 4 back to the double stroke roll. The double stroke roll synchronization is open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. The single 4 synchronization is open, open, close, close, open, open, close, close. So I'll start with the double stroke roll, go to the single 4, back to the double stroke roll. Here we go. Now single 4. Okay? Now it's kind of tricky, so you got to be patient with this thing. But the concept is it's the same movement, the open and close. It's just a matter of changing the timing and then flipping those middle two notes in that particular pattern. Now let's make a little transition exercise that involves all three. We'll do double stroke roll to alternating flams, back to double stroke roll to the single 4. That sounds like this. Flams. Single 4. Alright? Okay, here again is the double stroke roll. Right, right, left, left. Eighth note form, open, close, and the single 4. Right, left, open, open, close, close. You could describe the quality of these two doubles Each pattern is created from 2 double strokes. These doubles are separate. They're mechanically separate. I could draw a dividing line and see both individual doubles right down the middle. We could call these doubles discrete doubles. These 2 doubles, because the left hand begins its open stroke before the right hand has finished its double, can be called interwoven doubles. They're mechanically intertwined. While this pattern of the singled 4 is new, this synchronization of these 2 doubles is not new. And let me show you. If we add a rest to this pattern, we have to change the meter from 2/4 to 3/4. And actually, let's do the same thing down here, just for argument's sake. Add a quarter rest. And now we're in 3/4 time. The difference that we've done on each pattern now is we've introduced a space before the sequence recycles again. And as I said, this synchronization is not a new synchronization. While the singled 4 is a new pattern, the synchronization has been around for a long time. And if I change the meter that these exercises are in from 3 pulses per measure, put it into compound time, 6/8, so there's 2 pulses per measure, you may recognize this pattern as a 4-stroke rough. Let's change this one here as well. 6/8. Have to rearrange the flags. So we have 2 interwoven doubles in 6/8 time and 2 discrete doubles in 6/8 time. Okay, here are those 4 patterns that I just showed you, set up in a little bit of a relationship grid. On the top line we have 2 doubles followed by a rhythmic space, expressed in 6/8 meter. Pattern A has discrete doubles. Pattern B has interwoven doubles. On the second line, we have 2 doubles without a rhythmic space. Pattern C has discrete doubles. Pattern D has interwoven doubles, the singled 4. And pattern C obviously is our double stroke roll. We can use this little grid a couple ways to help our hands understand how to play the singled 4. First, if we go set up an exercise going from pattern A to pattern B and back again, if we play each one 4 times, we can practice making this mechanical shift of these inner notes. We have to flip those inner notes to get from this pattern to this pattern. To get from this pattern to this pattern, we have to flip them back. Notice that the rhythm is the same in both of these examples. So you could say this transition that we're practicing is really a form of mechanical morphing. The rhythm stays the same, but the mechanics change. Once we feel what this feels like to do, it's easier for us to understand how to get from the double stroke roll to the single 4, because it's the exact same transition. The difference is, this time it's done without the rhythmic space. Alright, let's look at how we can use that grid and mechanical morphing to get to the single 4. On the previous video, I showed you that to segue from the double stroke roll to the single 4, from pattern C to pattern D, you have to flip the middle 2 notes of the pattern. There's another change that happens when we do this as well that I didn't mention. When we're playing the double stroke roll, we're using 2-note strokes in separate mode, but when we're playing the single 4, we're using 2-note strokes in continuous mode. So by practicing the 2 patterns that have a space after them, pattern A and B, the discrete doubles and interwoven doubles, we can practice making this middle note transition without having to go to continuous mode. Here's what that sounds like. I'll do 4 patterns of A, 4 patterns of B, back and forth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright? Once you can do that, try doing that transition a couple times, then segueing down to pattern C and D, and try the double stroke roll single 4 transition a couple times. So we'll play the whole grid a couple times here. Here's what that looks like. Again. All right. The second way we can use these patterns is to go vertically on the transition. Go from pattern A to pattern C, back to pattern A. Basically what we're doing is we're playing the same mechanics, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close, but we're changing the rhythm. The top example has a space after the 2 doubles. The bottom example does not. So this morphing is called rhythmic morphing. And basically what we're doing is we're taking this sequence and stretching it out to fill the whole measure. We also need a common pulse to link these 2 patterns together, and that would be the 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So once we practice this and understand how this feels, then we can try going from pattern B to pattern D. Again, both of these are the same mechanics. Open, open, close, close, open, open, close, close. The only thing we're going to do is change the rhythm. Alright, let's look at the 4-stroke rough single 4 relationship a little bit more. There's a trick to using the 4-stroke rough to get to the single 4. We're going to accent both the first 2 notes, the first note of each hand, the first 2 notes of the pattern. And a way to practice this is thinking of dropping the hands to the drum. like this. They're just falling toward the drum. Okay? Once we can do this, we're halfway there to using the 4-stroke rough to get to the single 4. The other piece in this puzzle is we have to be able to play continuous mode 2-note strokes, or that steady stream of notes, with each hand. It doesn't have to be fast. Even if you can play at that tempo, that will work. On the whiteboard, I showed you how you can relate the 4-stroke rough to the single 4 against a steady pulse. We're going to take that relationship now, but remove the steady pulse aspect of it. And we're going to start playing the 4-stroke rough really fast. We're going to gradually slow it down and slow it down and slow it down and slow it down to the point that we can take that space out at the end and just sneak in, kind of turn the corner and sneak into that single 4. Once you get there, just stay there for the moment. Don't worry about going fast. Just hold it and get the synchronization going. Here's what that looks like. Starting with the 4-stroke rough, going to the single 4. Now I'm doing the single 4. Let's do that again. I'm going to start fast, gradually slow down, and turn the corner, and you're at the single 4. So, on our little grid here, you could say A is to B as C is to D. You could also say A is to C as B is to D. In other words, the single 4 could be looked at as nothing more than a continuous 4-stroke rough. Alright, just to review, here are the 3 patterns we have created in this video. They are all mechanically related to one another. They're also rhythmically related to one another. They're all of the same rhythmic duration. We know that they're all constructed from the same mechanical things. Symmetrical 2-note strokes. The top pattern is the double stroke roll, built from discrete doubles. The second pattern is alternating flams, built from delayed closed stroke doubles. The third pattern is the single 4, built from interwoven doubles. I showed you how we can use rhythmic morphing to go from the double stroke roll to alternating flams and back again. We just alter the rhythmic location of the closed stroke. I showed you how we can use mechanical morphing to go from the double stroke roll to the single 4 and back again. The thing we didn't explore in this video was going from the alternating flams to the single 4 and back again. This would involve rhythmic morphing and mechanical morphing. Because of that, it's possible that some parts of this transition may be difficult to play or a little more awkward. For instance, when we're going from the alternating flams to the single 4, it's tricky because this left hand happens so late in this pattern, and it happens so early in this pattern, that you're somewhat tempo limited when going from the alternating flams to the single 4. Going back the other way, however, is much easier to do. That can be done at a high speed because there's plenty of time to make the change. We can also use these three patterns as interchangeable building blocks. So for instance, if we put a single on the end of this pattern, turning it into a 5-stroke roll, I can put a single on the end of this pattern and have a variation of a 5-stroke roll built using delayed close strokes. I can put a single on the end of this pattern and have a 5-stroke roll played with interwoven doubles. I can also repeat these building blocks to create longer rolls. If I play this twice and then play my single, it's 4 notes and 4 notes, that's 8, 9. It's a 9-stroke roll. I can do the 9-stroke roll variation with delayed close strokes. A 9-stroke roll with interwoven doubles. If I play it 3 times, I get a 13-stroke roll. I can do the same 13 with the delayed close strokes or interwoven doubles. 4 times gives you a 17-stroke roll, etc., etc. So you can see this little system, which is a painfully simple idea, can open up many doors and many new things with things that we already know how to play. It's just a matter of getting a control of that open and close stroke and be able to change the timing of it.